Welcome to Tabletop Gaming with Juice. Now, hopefully, you can hear me okay. I do have a fan on in the background. You can probably hear the water going on because I'm in a basement, and the basement picks up all the noise of the house. But hoping the fan kind of drowns that out and keeps my laptop from overheating. Anyways, I have learned a lot in the last year of gaming. And thankfully, the one shot group has allowed me to try different things. It's allowed me to play different games, run different games. Well, mainly play different games. I haven't ran anything, too different. But I've had the privilege of playing with different personalities, different people, and it's been a fantastic year. Absolutely great, wonderful. I have grown so much thanks to the Tabletop RPG One Shot Group, and that's not just me saying that because I'm the founder of it. It's the truth. I mean, I've played in so many games, and I think almost anybody who's played in it. I mean, you'll hear guys like Sam from Chalice and Chains, Andrew Knapp from SR2 Joker. Um, I mean, just the list goes on of people who will tell you about all the great things they've either learned from the one shot group or learned from playing games through the one shot group. Um, so I'm really blessed in that regard. And last night I was playing in a Numenera game, my first time playing Numenera with SR2 Joker, which you can see that over on his channel. And it was an excellent session. Um, I had a blast. Um, there was player agency, which a year and a half ago, I don't think I would have played the game the way I played that game last night. For example, very early in that session, I introduced, based on my character perks, one of my skills was that my character's trained in any task that involves identifying objects or recalling minor details or trivia. And because of that, when Andrew Knapp, the game master, had mentioned a forest, I decided to play off that and I said, oh, there's a parasite in that forest. Great. We had a character in our group who was a bug, who attracted bugs and could speak with bugs and things like that. So he's like, oh, well, let's go that way. So we went through this forest. Also, he could pick up some bugs and some of these parasites. And from there, it became part of the lore, part of the game. For the rest of the session, these bugs kept coming up without me having to bring them up. And that was an example of player agency. I introduced something that the game master didn't necessarily plan for, and it became part of it, and it was fantastic. It made me, it kind of made me enjoy the game more because I had a part in it. It was collaborative storytelling, and I loved that. So that was cool. But what I was gonna say though is that even social aspects of the game last night were a lot of fun, and I feel like this is one of the things that I've grown to enjoy over the last year. If you were to ask me a year ago what I needed in a game, one of the first things I would say would be combat, and lots of combat. And while there was combat, don't get me wrong, I think it still would have been an enjoyable session without it. But the combat last night did make it sweet. So aside from last night's game, I feel like I've learned to enjoy social RP just as much as combat RP. And it's still something that's difficult for me. It's something I'm working on. The social side of the RP is not my strong suit. And I think that's why it's always been so easy for me to say, I have to have combat. I need, this much, at least this much combat to enjoy a session. And that's not true anymore. I think I can enjoy a game that doesn't have a lot of combat RP. Combat RP is easier for me. And regardless of, kind of like my video I just made the other day, regardless of the party composition, I can make combat fun for myself. Whether we have, one great player with me or no other great players, I can make combat fun for me by RPing it for myself. So I can keep myself entertained in that regard. But When it comes to social RP, games, and I still feel this way, games can fall flat if you have a lot of social RP and none of the people in it have any high energy. And I think it's important to mix it up too. You got to have a little bit of up and down and give and take. So maybe not everybody bring in a ton of energy to the game, but if you have a couple people bring in some energy and some enthusiasm here and there, and then you have like a low dramatic point, or a lot of fluctuation, a lot of dynamic social interaction, and a game can be a lot of fun. Now, and I think that's why it's hard to watch games sometimes online. It's hard to watch a live play if you don't have a lot of dynamic characters in a tabletop RPG. And I think this is something that David Daniel Ducker kind of touches on. He always says, oh, you need a good backstory and stuff like that. So you have dynamic characters. I don't think it's that. I think you just need players who can role play in a dynamic way. And they don't have to be like the cream of the crop best role player ever, but there has to be some excitement, some energy. If there's no energy from any of the players at the table, no matter how intelligent or cool their character is, it's going to be boring if it's just social. And that's, again, this is just something that I'm speaking from experience for me. Other people, that's their favorite part, regardless of that. So take it for what it is. But for me, high energy and in social and combat can make a game so much better. And it can be the difference in a game being good to great. It can also be the difference of a game being lame to great. If you have 4 players who have interesting characters, but they don't RP it with excitement and they're just kind of there to be drug along by the game master, you're going to have a really flat game. And flat games are not fun to play in. The game master can't do all the work. That's why you need somebody at the table doing it. And that's why a lot of times I say combat's more fun for me, because if there's a player, or if all the players in the group aren't, playing at a high level of energy, then I can entertain myself. I know in the past there have been games that I've been playing with Joker, and where, I've felt like the game was a little bit too slow paced or lacked excitement, but because Joker was there, I was able to make it fun for myself, or because of another player's there, I can make it fun for myself, and, I think that's why, again, this is stuff that I'm all kind of speaking off the top of my head, but I feel like I've come a long way, because a year and a half ago, if you were to say, oh, well, we're going to have more social RP, probably not a lot of combat, I probably would have scoffed at the idea. I've given it a shot. I've played in, Ian Christensen's Call of Cthulhu game that was, I think, no combat, because it was Call of Cthulhu, and that was cool. I think that was my first time ever seeing Lloyd in chat. I think it was Lloyd, Robert Ogre, SR2 Joker, and Ian. And, I had fun. I can't remember. For some reason, I had to go somewhere mid-game. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. That was probably the first time I was in a game that I enjoyed that didn't have a lot of combat. And sometimes for me, to be very social, like good at social RP, I have to be like wide awake. If I'm tired, it's hard for me to bring the energy to a social RP. Now, combat, I still have no problem with. It's second nature for me, I feel. And then I'm not even trying to toot my own horn, because I don't think I'm necessarily the best, but I'm not afraid to try, crazy descriptions or cinematic things. And you guys know me, cinematic is the style I love. If you watch the Numenera game from last night over on SR2 Joker's channel, you will see how I like to RP combat. I loved that. The Provokers, same thing with some of the combat there. I've really enjoyed RPing the combat there. I've really enjoyed RPing socially in that campaign as well. I've had a couple off days in that campaign, though, but usually, I try to give it my all. But yeah, so I guess my point is that really any kind of game can be fun as long as people are bringing some energy to the game. You got personality. Someone like Locrius, great example, always brings 150% energy and probably that alien blood in him. But that dude is always performing well. He always makes the game enjoyable for everybody else there, in my opinion. And, that's awesome. So, there's people in the community like that. I hope to be one of those people. I strive for that. I try to be. I try to, push other people into doing things sometimes. Last night, I think I did it to Amendus, and I think I did it to Asset a couple times. Those are the characters. And, whether it was just to keep the full interaction among the group going, or just because I thought it would be funny to, to nudge them forward, like Amendus at the end. So, but the lesson is try your best, try to keep high energy, keep yourself excited. Unless the tone of the game at that time is something more tense or more serious, I fully endorse and want everybody out there to try and push the envelope. Try to keep it high energy. That doesn't mean that you have to be a goofball. That doesn't mean you gotta talk fast or anything like that. But be dynamic, adapt to the game, adapt to the other players' styles, and keep it fun. Push the fun. That goes for you too, DMs. I struggle with this sometimes. Let your players do fun stuff. The worst thing you could do to stifle the energy in your game is to not let them do something they want to do. And the moment you kill their energy, that excitement, the momentum stops. And it sometimes can take a bit to bring it back. So, just keep energy high through the whole game, especially for a one-shot. This week, I'm going to try and do a one-shot formula to ensure that, some of the newer people out there, maybe it'll help them, maybe it won't. And it's going to be more so from my experience talking to other people, what they like and don't like about one-shots. And, so anyways, with that, I'm going to end this video here because I think I'm starting to drift elsewhere. But I hope you guys like this. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, share this video with your friends, and again, keep the energy high at the table, and you won't be disappointed. So that's it. Talk to you guys next time.